Welcome to Thinking Women,
the intelligent conversation show.
And here we are back for another exciting episode. So,
yes.
Who have we got on today?
So today's guests are, I've got Amanda Williams, who is a data protection consultant, and she's going to be giving us some top tips on how to stay safe on the internet.
So important. And so right now, because there's so much dangerous stuff going on around there. So brilliant, brilliant topical. I've also got Andy Heapy, one of the few men that are coming on Thinking Women, but he's the Women's, Girls and Diversity Development Officer for Cornwall Football Association. So we're talking about women's football
Very
and women
topical.
in sport.
Yeah. Brilliant. Absolutely.
And I'm also talking to Jodie Retallick, who's our resident aesthetician. And she's going to be talking about skincare when you've got cancer. So that's really interesting. Yeah, brilliant.
Because I think, keeping yourself beautiful and looking after yourself at all times is very important.
Yeah, no, it's important. And people don't often think about that. It's like, when you're not feeling great inside, it's psychological as well, isn't
Absolutely.
it? Making yourself look good.
Yeah.
And talking of not illness, but accidents.
Well, yes, I've had a wonderful summer break, as many of you can see. So I've managed to break my leg whilst I was away on holiday. But the reason I'm mentioning this is I don't need anyone's sympathy. We talk a lot about shoes on Thinking Women. And this is, as you can see, this is the wedge. Many of you own one of these. I believe this is yours.
This is mine.
Yes. So I
might throw it away in a minute after you've heard this story. But is it like, what's that game that you play where it's like, Mags was in the lounge with the shoe. What's that called?
Yes, yeah, Cluedo.
Yeah, so
anyway, the story is, and I mentioned this because I wouldn't like anyone to fall foul to the same mistake I made. A wedge in a long dress and a cobbly street, accident and emergency, and a casa have broken my fibula. Anyway, so that shoe. So if anyone possesses one of these, good luck. If anyone's got any horror stories about these, and this is the croc wedge. Yes.
So my little shoe here is looking quite innocent compared to what that. I mean, Crocs. Candles and Crocs. # candles and Crocs. Here we go. But look at that abomination.
Yeah.
That's how do you actually keep that on?
Well, actually, I was just saying before we came on air. I think if I'd have had that on, I might have not injured myself because I would have just come out of it. The fact that I was strapped into the thing. With a
that's true. It's a bit like you were like in a ski boot, weren't you?
Yeah.
A little bit. Whereas because your foot would have been sweaty, because your feet are always sweaty in a Croc, it would have slipped out.
Yes.
So, so there, health and safety, that's a good one.
Anyway, on to more ugly shoes. We do like an ugly shoe before we get into the serious stuff.
So Crocs as usual. They are now making Crocs for animals. Is this real or is this just made up?
I genuinely haven't seen this.
Look at that. They're quite balletic.
Yeah.
They're kind of like pointing their little paws in those Crocs.
That's quite sweet.
Is it cruel? Oh, look, that's like my little Buckley.
I was going to say, is that your
little Buckley in red? No, my sister's dog.
You wouldn't put him in Crocs.
She would.
Yeah.
Hello, Marie.
And
they're a dog again. But look how he's kind of like placing it so delicately on his palm. That they're really proud of their animals in their Crocs.
Yeah.
Strange people, you're strange.
Exactly. Anyone who's got any animal Crocs, then send us your photographs.
Yeah, we want to see them.
We love a bit.
So and then you found another one just to wrap up because this is
this.
Those toes look
I did think with this though that if you were going to produce and manufacture this, you would produce a nice looking foot with some polish on the toenails.
Oh yeah, missing the polish.
Like a manicured version of it. Because actually if you didn't want to bother doing your own pedicure, you could just pop on the beautiful looking one. Whereas this actually, it makes it look worse.
Well, you could get those, hun.
I could.
I think that'd be lovely.
Pop
on
that
the bottom
on the
there. I'll do your nail varnish for you. Don't you worry. We're a team and
good to go.
Yeah, good to go. But
fabulous.
Hang on, and there's more. What's that?
I've no idea. Mike's throwing.
Yeah, Mike, what are you doing? You're throwing weird stuff at us now.
I think that's the crop of the troll. Anyway, on to our first guest. So our next guest is the lovely Amanda Williams, who's a data protection consultant.
Thank you.
Welcome to Thinking Women.
Thank you very much.
It's lovely to have you here.
Yeah, it's great.
And this
First
is one of my favourite topics, data.
Well, it's really interesting. It's interesting to us, isn't it?
It is, absolutely.
And why not?
And I think to a lot of people, and particularly the topic that we're going to talk about today, which is about internet security and staying safe online.
Yeah.
And I think we think a lot about staying safe outdoors. We think about staying safe in lots of environments, but online, it's a more recent thing, and it's something where we do need to take as much care as in any other part of our day-to-day life.
Yeah.
So to start off with, what can go wrong?
Oh, golly.
What
Yeah.
sort of things are we trying to stay safe against?
It's become more and more sophisticated, and it's getting more and more sophisticated. You think of all the kind of conferences you go on and the business meetings you go on. There's people doing the same thing, cyber criminals, planning things. How can they hack into something? How can they trick us? And there are certain things we can do to keep ourselves safer. Now, it's not 100%, and the best people fall for these scams. So, if you fall for one, don't feel bad, but I'm going to give you some top tips about how you can help yourself online.
Okay.
I mean, back in the day, it was the Nigerian prince, wasn't it? Do you remember those emails?
Oh, yes.
So,
I do.
and it was like, okay.
Yeah.
Or somebody would email you from a holiday and they needed money or something like that.
Yes.
They are much more sophisticated now. And I think the best of us can get tricked, definitely.
Yeah. And I've heard about situations where you'll get messages or phone calls from a phone number it comes up on your phone as, say, your bank.
Yes.
So
yes.
it's quite difficult in those circumstances to think, well, is this real? Is this not? And especially if they've got information about you and they're asking you to confirm things like your email address or so on, it can be, it's quite a dangerous area. So what can we do then to protect ourselves?
So I've got 5 things that we can help keep ourselves safer online.
Okay.
And the first one is really easy, and it's update your software. So when you get the notification on a device about software is available, don't put it off, do it immediately. I mean, if you're an Apple user, you will have got an email last week and it was in the press about they found a vulnerability. So do it quickly, don't put it off, don't delay. So that's super easy.
Okay. So I know quite often
that.
they'll say you need to have 50% battery, or it needs to be plugged in overnight, and you can think, oh, do you know what, I'll just wait. But your advice is just get on with it straight away.
Just do it straight away.
Okay.
And even if it takes a little while, it's really worth it because they've updated the software for a reason, and it will be a good reason.
Okay.
So that's my first tip. And the second tip is actually what we were talking about just now about texts. Did you get a few texts during lockdown that the Royal Mail had a parcel for you?
Oh, yes. Yeah. I am wise to that one, actually.
Okay.
But you need to pay $2.95
exactly
because there's not enough postage.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, and of course, during lockdown, we probably did have a parcel waiting for us, didn't we? I know I did have a few. So, and I nearly got caught on that one, and I'm sure a lot of people did. So just be careful of links that you look a bit suspicious in texts, in emails, in WhatsApps, or even things on Facebook. If they look too good to be true, they probably are. And those kind of links can lead to like what they call phishing with a PH, and they're after your data, they're after your money. And what I say is take 10 seconds. Take 10 seconds of your time just to be careful before you click on the link.
Yeah.
Because once you've clicked on it, it might be too late.
Sure. And that's good advice for the first point as well. We just take 10 seconds and think about why this person's asking you this. And so on.
I mean, I got one from my bank, and the other, a bit of a giveaway often is you'll get a text from the Royal Mail, but it will have a phone number at the top. So it's clearly not from the Royal Mail, it's from a spammy phone number. And you can report those you can report them to an email to do with the government. I think it's report@phishing.gov.uk, and perhaps I can put some information on the Facebook page so
that would be really useful, actually.
Can look over and read up some links.
Phishing.uk. We'll check that.
Yeah, reports@phishing.gov.uk.
It's on the web.
Yeah, we'll give you that. But I got one from my bank, and it came from my bank, and it said that some money had been taken out of my account, and to press on the link and to make sure it was okay. And fortunately, I just thought they don't usually send me a link. So I contacted the bank, and it was a scam. And they said, we'd never send you a link in a text. And so they sent me a one-time passcode to access my account, and it came in after the text. So it was in a line of text from my bank. There was somebody had been clever enough to insert a spammy link. So just take 10 seconds and before you click on those links.
Think. Okay.
Yeah, just think.
So tip number 3.
Tip number 3 is passwords. How are you with passwords, Mags?
Probably not as good as I could be, is the truth.
I mean, it's a pain, isn't it?
Yes.
It's really difficult. And I think that's one of the stresses of modern life, isn't it?
It is.
Password.
I've got enough to remember as it is without probably, I've probably got upwards of 50, 60 different logins across different retail sites, banks, works, emails. There's so many.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
many.
And how do you keep track of them?
Yeah.
And it's really tempting. I think back in the day, we might have used the same password or had a couple that we kind of had on rotation. And just don't do that. I mean, you wouldn't use the same key for everything that you needed in your life. So don't use the same password either. And make them strong passwords. So one good thing is like 3 random words. I do 3 random words, a number and a symbol. And they're much easier, or you can get password generators as well that will generate a strong password for you.
And how do you keep track of these?
Yeah, okay. Well, some people write them down in a book. I've got a password manager. So it's a piece of software online, and all I need to get into my password manager is one master password, which I know, I'm not going to tell you if you don't mind.
Yes, that's fine.
And it's a phrase. It's a really hard to guess phrase that I know it, and that's my way into my password manager. And then after that, all of the passwords are there and they're safe.
Right.
And another way of keeping that safe is I've got that locked under sort of 2-factor authentication.
Yeah. And is that an app that you can have on your phone? So we can download that?
Yeah, you can. So I use LastPass. Others are available. That's just the one I happen to use. I think there's one called DinoPass, but don't quote me on that. But there's different, if you type in password manager, you'll find one.
Okay.
So I've got it on my laptop. I've also got it on my phone. And so if I go into my laptop, it will ask me for my master password, and then it will send me a text on my phone just to check that it is me.
Sure.
And then I'm in and it's safe. And it automatically fills in passwords on the various sites you've got.
Really good advice, because personally, I've had the book, and then I moved on to a Word document that I then stored on my laptop, and I password protected that. And this is great news that there's actually software that will do this.
It's very clever. It's very clever.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
And that does lead into my 3rd point, which I've just mentioned, the 2-factor authentication. Now, sometimes it can slow you down, but as we've said, that's not necessarily a bad thing, because if you've got to pick up your phone and confirm it, then you know that it's you're in it. Somebody else can't get in it because they haven't got your phone. So I think that's a really good thing to have. As much as you can, have 2-factor authentication on the different apps and websites that you use, particularly banks and anything with sensitive information on it.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's good.
So that's 4.
Yeah,
and your
that's
5th
4.
point.
My 5th point is just be careful what you post. For example, if you go on holiday, are you going to post about your holiday on Facebook so people know, or your social media site so people know that you're away from home? And that can be a real risk, can't it? So that's a kind of staying safe online, and it's coming into our normal offline life, isn't it?
Yeah, you don't want to be advertising to people that your house is empty.
And also, if you're going to use passwords with your pet's name in it, maybe don't put pictures of your pets online. So it they all sort of feed into each other.
Yeah.
And if you're working and you have a company device, a company phone, be careful what you put on your company phone as well. Because, with my data protection hat on, what you write in there, if it's about a member of staff or a client, that may come into whether that needs to be revealed if there was a data subject access request. It may not, but just be careful about what you put in writing, who's going to see it, and where you're posting those things, because once it's out there, it's very hard to take
and
back.
that's just general good advice, isn't it? And in terms of internet safety and internet etiquette as well. So making sure that we're keeping ourselves safe and keeping boundaries up.
Yeah.
I mean, this is obviously there's the safety part from the technical data side, but also that the boundaries around social media and what we choose to share and what we don't choose to share, and to who. So.
Yeah, and if you know, if you're working for an organisation, they may have a social media policy which you probably will want to read and acquaint yourself with, so you don't fall foul of any social media policies that your work might have as well. Yeah. So that's kind of, you know, another aspect to it.
So lots of amazing advice there from Amanda, and we will put information about that on the website and on our own social media sites. But there's definitely stuff that I'm going to go away and do differently after that little chat. So
and
thank you very much.
I'll write some things up for you, and I do just want to say thank you to James NCI, who checked my 5 points for me.
Thank you, James.
Thank you, James.
That's brilliant. And if anyone's got any questions or any tips as well, or comments or anecdotes as to what's happened to you, then do let us know and we can share. So thank you so much, Amanda.
Thank you.
It's been very useful and lovely to speak to you.
Thank you very much.
So unless you have had your head buried in the sand the last couple of months, you could not have missed the fact that the Lionesses won. Hang on, Andy. What did they win? The actual...
The Women's Euros.
The Women's Euros. So I'm joined by Andy Heapy, Women's, Girls and Disability Development Officer for Cornwall Football Association.
Correct. Yeah.
Yay. So we're going to be talking about all things women's football, among other things. So yeah, so unless you were like on another planet, you could not have missed that fantastic win. Andy, first question obviously has to be, what difference has that win made for women's football generally? Have you noticed?
Massive. All aspects of the game, from people wanting to get involved just by helping out, and to local girls being inspired. It's just the legacy it's created throughout the whole of the impact throughout different generations is going to be absolutely huge, from younger right up to older.
I mean, I see reports and people say it's changing, it will have changed society.
Yeah.
Which is a bold statement, is it not? But is it true?
It is, yeah. So we've previously had a lot more clubs which wanted to get involved in women's games and sort of offer provision for those younger ones right up to older ones. We've had a lot more people just be more open to the idea of women's football. We've had other people just wanting to just get involved and say, look, I haven't got a footballing background, but I want to do something and help inspire this generation. So yeah, it's been absolutely massive.
So let's go back. What was wrong before then? What was it? Misogyny in the FA? Or probably a couple of things. Why wasn't women's football? There was a period of time when it was a big thing, and then it stopped. Am I right? And then take me through that.
Yeah. So well, football originally was obviously, if you go back to how it got formed, it was always a working man's game, and then sort of that's what it's for. And then obviously when the war broke out, obviously the women filled that role, and then it still was very hard in society to accept that. And since then, there's always been a lot of barriers in place, and then it's slowly come across that the game is for both genders. Now, there's still a lot of barriers to overcome, but this triumph which the girls have managed to achieve is just going to break down even more barriers, really. So slowly we're chipping away. There's still a lot of progress to be done, but this sort of win's just going to accelerate that progress.
It's interesting, isn't it? It takes a win for everybody to take notice, but obviously there's been years of those women building up to winning that cup. So what sort of things would they have been having to face on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah.
You know from your experience.
So obviously Ellen White, who's obviously now retired, and so it was our last sort of big tournament. She's gone from having to just play in a mixed environment and having to go through that offer and sort of not being accepted. There was a story about her not being allowed to play with her local grassroots club because of being a female, and the boys weren't really accepted. To now all of a sudden these girls have got that girls inclusive environment. So to go from that extreme only 10, 15 years ago to where it is now is it's a massive achievement. So yeah, it's the barriers which those girls faced, and there's still a lot of girls facing those barriers now, but that they haven't got the same problems what girls had 10 years ago. There's a lot more opportunities for them coming about, which is great to see.
It's exciting. Do you feel like in your job, in your role, do you feel like a sense of excitement?
Yeah, it's a sense of unknowing now, like how big this is going to get, because we're seeing like just from our local girls club in our local league, it's gone like 40% increase in clubs, which is absolutely for this season.
Wow.
So a lot more clubs. So we've had 40% increase in the amount of teams entering the league. Our sort of Wildcats provision, which is like the foundation stage and girls at that introduction level, so many people wanting to offer, so just from local youth clubs to after school provision, just wanting to say, look, we want to offer and get involved and have a piece of this cake. And that's the legacy it's having now. And it's just knowing how big this is going to get and the impact it's going to make. Early indications that it's going to be huge. And we've seen it just we ran our ETC trials, which is like the Emerging Talent Centre for Cornwall. And that just broke the record of the number of girls trialling out. So
unbelievable. But you just think, what were those girls doing before? You know, some of them have obviously got a huge amount of talent.
Yeah.
What were they doing? You think it's like,
I think
you know, just
early days was always sort of those traditional parents always pushed them to, like, I want to say traditional girls sports, and now a lot more people are a lot more educated. That is for both genders, and a lot more people are open to allowing their daughter to try out football as one of those options for them.
Great moment for feminism. I can't help thinking.
Yeah.
So what's your vision? Last question, like, what's your vision? Your grassroots in Cornwall. So what's your vision for the future of female football in Cornwall?
Our future and our vision is for equal access throughout both the games. So it doesn't matter if you're a boy or a girl, you've got the same opportunities throughout the game. And that's what we want to get to. Like I said, we are making progress on that, massive progress. The amount of girls teams who are coming on board and the opportunities they've got available to them are massive compared to where 5-6 years ago. And that's the way we want to get to. But like I said, our mission is to get equal access for both. So it doesn't matter if you're a boy or a girl, you can have the same opportunities throughout football.
Amazing, amazing. What an inspiration. Thanks, Andy, so much for coming in.
Always, thank you.
Brilliant. Take care.
Good.
When ladies are diagnosed with cancer, one of the experiences that they sadly have to go through is their skin changing quite dramatically. So I'm joined today by the wonderful Jodie Retallick from Retallick Aesthetics, who is our resident skincare expert. And Jodie, we're going to talk today about what ladies can do if they are diagnosed with cancer. So let's start off by asking, what actually happens? What can happen?
Okay, so when ladies are going through their cancer experience, sometimes they have to go through chemotherapy or radiotherapy. With chemotherapy, it's actually starting to attack the cells of the body, which also is the skin cells. So sometimes the side effects that they can expect to get are skin dryness, dehydration, sometimes cracks or sores in the skin. Also, the skin's going to be very, very sensitive, especially to any weather changes or sunlight. The best thing to do is to try and keep the skin really hydrated and moisturised with some creams for sort of sensitive skin, nothing with really active or high ingredients or any alcohol in the ingredients.
So it can be quite extreme then, what can happen. I mean, I don't want to, be alarmist about it, but you're talking about cracks and sores there. That sounds quite painful, actually.
Yes, for some people, obviously, people experience different things with it. So some people can have it worse than others. But the best thing to do is to use creams like Aveeno or E45, things that haven't got lots of, like I said, active ingredients in, to actually keep the skin really moisturised.
So moisturising sounds like it's the main thing. So you don't want to use anything that's going to exacerbate drying. So the retinols and things that are around at the moment, you're saying no?
Definitely a no-no. Anything that's sort of like active ingredients like vitamin C's, retinol, things that people are really using for anti-aging should be stopped for a period of time while they're going through the treatment. Because like I said, it can actually sort of flare the skin up even more, which would be an adverse reaction. So
could some products react with the treatment?
Some products can react with the treatment. That's why it's better to have more sort of natural products, more sort of calming things for sensitive skins. There are a few different ranges of things out there for people that are going through chemo or radiotherapy.
Especially for them.
Especially for them.
Okay,
There's
that's
a
good to
few
know.
out there if you Google or search. There's one that I've been looking at was called Jennifer Young, which actually looks like the ingredients are very nice and for actually chemotherapy.
I think I've heard of that. Did she actually have cancer, that lady? And then she launched the skincare brand specially.
She did, and especially for that.
Brilliant. I think, I'm not sure about this, but I think even better than that I think some of the proceeds might go to cancer research or something, or her charity maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm
not 100% sure, but that was great if it does.
Yeah, absolutely. So what about cleansing? Should you be careful on cleansing as well? Just like these...
No, you can still cleanse, but like I said, just use some really simple products that don't contain lots of alcohol and astringent products. Something that's more calming, just to cleanse.
And I keep thinking face, obviously, because think face, but your skin is everywhere on your body, so all of this applies to the rest of your body as well.
It all applies to the rest of the body. Like I said, keep it as sort of moisturised and hydrated as possible, and then use things for washing or cleansing that are really, like I said, no alcohol and no active ingredients, just things for sort of sensitive skins.
Because I think, when you're experiencing something as frightening as cancer, there's so much going on in your mind and your body that, another thing that to add on to it, where if you're not looking, it's not vanity, is it? We all want to look and feel our best. So psychologically, I think maybe taking a bit of extra care and knowing you're taking that special care could help.
Yes, definitely agreed. Reading as much as you can about obviously the different products out there, and definitely using them, making people aware that these products are available, just in case obviously someone is diagnosed with the condition.
Okay, and one final note, 'cause as an esthetician, I keep getting that word right. I'm so happy with myself today. I can't spell it, I can't write it down, but I can say it.
A lot of people can't.
We talked about products, brilliant. Yeah. How about other treatments, laser, say, or anything like that? Is there anything you recommend that ladies and gents actually can go for?
Yeah, not while they're actually on the cancer treatment. People won't actually treat you while you are actually ongoing any kind of chemotherapy or radiotherapy. So no laser treatments, Botox and filler. They're all out until after the treatment stops.
Mm-hmm. But then after you can do something?
Then after, so for a period of time after, you will be able to start those things again. Just be very, very careful of going in the sun after chemotherapy or radiotherapy, because you can come out with obviously heat rashes, and the skin can be very, very sensitive. I think they say about a year afterwards.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good SPF, obviously.
Good SPF, but you can get ones that are especially for sort of prickly heat, and ones that aren't high in chemicals is a good one to go for.
So a mineral sunscreen, maybe. Yeah. Brilliant. Yeah. That's amazing. Amazing information as always, Jodie. Thank you so much. Yeah. And obviously, if you've got any questions about anything that we've talked about today, please message us or message Jodie. We'll put all her information on screen. Jodie, thank you so much again.
Lovely
That's
to be
fantastic.
on. Lovely to see you again.
And you, darling. Take care.
Thank you.
Well, that's it from the fantastic episode of Thinking Women. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
And thanks to all our lovely guests.
Yes, thanks to Amanda with her top tips.
Yeah, and thanks to Andy and to Jodie. Amazing, amazing guests. Thanks again so much.
Yeah. And remember to get in contact with any of your comments, stories and anecdotes. We're on social media safely. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, and we've got our own website. So please do give us your thoughts. It's your show.
Yeah, and we hope to hear from you. Till next time, stay safe.
Take care.